You can see right here. I mean, this is the gold. Obviously, it's not a bear market in gold, but I don't know. We had a little big move down last week, and it's trying to recover on the stock U.S. equities. I have had a trade today. I tried to go short, had a little bit of profit on it, but obviously the bulls are still in control there. But what about in crypto? Oof, oof. Big yikes, big yikes. We're going to talk about here for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and oh no, well, my favorite Monero. It's kind of doing its thing. But yeah, we'll talk about here in just a second. All right. Well, thanks for joining today. Please, what, Dawson? If you guys have things to look at, make sure you post them in the chat. I usually get to those in the last half of the live stream to look at. This is all about opportunity generation. Well, and that in teaching. I like to teach what I know and what I do and what I'm thinking about the current state of the market. And so, yeah, I get a lot of good ideas from viewers watching the stream. A lot of things that I take, but if I don't like it, I don't take it. And don't be offended if I don't like the particular thing that you do, because everyone can make money. So first of all, let's talk about what's bullish, even though the topic of this is bearish. I cannot deny, this came across my screen this week. Apparently this is a line of people outside of a gold bullion place dealership in Australia. Okay. And that is, of course, because of this. This is gold. This is gold on the daily. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about here with gold. All right. First of all, one of the things, if you watch my stream a lot, you know that there's three basic technical indicators that I use. They're not RSIs, MACDs, and stuff like that. They're phenomenon, okay? Levels. And one in particular is false breakouts, okay? That's where you think that price is going to do something and it does not do it. In other words, the candlestick closes back inside, let's say, an all-time high. So let's go back and let's look at this. And we'll talk about gold and what I think about the current state right now in just a second. But this is really important, okay? Because I talk every week about the false breakouts going on that happened 2 weeks ago in Bitcoin, and then happened weeks before that in Bitcoin, then happened back in November of 2021. Like, one of the most reliable indicators of a turnaround, a reversal, is a false breakout. Now, you did have that in gold back in August, okay? It reached the top, the former all-time high that it set in April. And then you had a candlestick that closed and couldn't go right there, okay? And so, yeah, I mean, and you had a little short-lived pullback because why? This thing is obviously bullish. Now we look back in hindsight, but hindsight doesn't make us money on this. But looking at the price action can help us go forward and find opportunities like this again. Do I think that the opportunities are over in gold? My opinion is yes, simply because, I mean, what is it that makes people do things like this? Sit outside at an all-time high and just rush to buy things at all-time highs. I've just been doing this way too long to not take this as a top signal. Does it mean it's the tippy top? No. But it does mean that the opportunity is over when everyone is rushing in. It just does. It just does. And look, it can go up a good bit more from that. You can get that retail FOMO. They can push it up higher. But in enough time, it's going to be right back wherever it is right now. And that's where I step in as a trader. I can't buy stuff going up. So tell you what, don't listen to me if you don't like that. If you want to go and buy it, or, silver, we'll look at silver here in just a second too. But I have to buy stuff on pullbacks, or I have to buy stuff that nobody else is and people think is dead. And so whenever we start talking about how gold is the worst investment ever, then I get interested. But right now, it's already done. And look, I'm not FOMOing. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried that the world is going to collapse and go away any more than I'm, worried that Cthulhu is going to come down from outer space and, bring us into an age of darkness. I mean, doomsday and fear is what make people do emotional things. And we're at that point in the cycle. But it's still bullish. And if you want to make some money on it, go for it. But I can't take that as a top signal. But what I'm using as a teachable moment here is what this breakout actually looked like in hindsight, going back to September last month, versus false breakouts. This was a real breakout, and it was very clear to see. Okay, and then we're going to juxtapose this with some other stuff here in a bit. But you had this on gold where August, it set a new high. It pushed above it, but that daily, didn't get it. Really, on something like gold or anything else, you want to look at a weekly. Things get a little more clear. And, of course, there in August, you had the boop, went, didn't go. Then you had a little small pullback, but it was bullish, so it went. This is that bar that I talk about, the big green dildo bar that pushes up into new high territory. It's a big, thick bar. It's not a wick. It's not like a doji. It leaves you no uncertainty. And then after you have something like that, you still have a good bit of gains potentially left to go. Okay, so we're using this as a teaching experience right here to see what a good breakout should look at. Okay, we got that? All right. I want to juxtapose that with Bitcoin. 2 weeks ago, it was Sunday, so it would have been after that live stream, but we definitely talked about it in the 2 live streams before. Let's clean all this up. This is Bitcoin spot. I got a question in chat today, Discord, which, by the way, if you like hanging out and talking about stuff, and whenever I do something, I usually talk about it on Discord first. So click the link below. By the way, if you like what you're hearing, think this is useful, make sure you do the like, and actually leave a comment too. If you guys leave comments, I'll start replying to them as well. But I like to talk on Discord a lot better. So I noted at the close of the September, this is Monday the 29th, so that would have been the September bar that closed, let's see. It would have been that closed on October the 5th. Okay, so Sunday, October the 5th was here. So this is this bar right here. All right, that was key. That close told me, well, anything can happen. That's what you internalize as a trader. But that close, that failure to have the big green dildo bar, the big push, people buying, people rushing out to a store to buy it. Okay, that's what you need for a breakout. What you're seeing in gold right now. Let's take the memes away. Let's not. Who care? I don't care that they're two of the same thing. One's digital gold, the other's actual gold. Just focus on the price action, the thing that actually matters. That is not what you saw on Sunday almost 2 weeks ago. You saw a failure. And then what do you have after that? You have a bearish pullback. There is no more consistent of a signal. You even did that back in the summertime with this July all-time high, poked its head up in August. Failure, pullback. Failure, pullback. You just don't have that kind of relentless buying going on that you have, say, in gold right now, that you can see, in the real world, okay? And so people just are not getting into the digital currencies right now. Man, what a bloodbath it's been for altcoins, too. And then let's look at some other things, too, just to kind of hammer this point home. So, yeah, and this is a note from this week, Monday of this week. Price on Ethereum came up, held this volume profile level. That's not good for the bulls. That's a holding of a resistance there. Going back to Bitcoin really quickly, either 50% or volume profile. Again, earlier this week, the rebound just stalled out at that 50%. Now, that doesn't necessarily, I already was and continue to be positioned bearish. This just gives confirmation of it because it's failing to recapture, it's failing to get back up to the high, and it's holding resistances. But I am not all in on this thing going simply because what we're in right now on Bitcoin and everything else in particular is one of our favorite words is a leptocurtic. Leptocurtic. It is a period of time exhibiting more kurtosis than normal. What does that basically mean? It basically means higher highs and lower lows at the same time. You have a widening triangle. I have no textbook definition of what this means in direction. You're just seeing more volatility. And it's still just a annoying consolidation for anyone who's in any side of the trade, bullish or bearish, because you don't know which way it's going to go. It's just fooling you either way. But a lot less volume. But definitely not bullish. Definitely not bullish. And it hasn't been really that YOLO bullish for a very long time. No, the bear has not entered. Give me 102K BTC. I put 60K in a heartbeat. Okay. All right. Okay. 100. So at 102, did we not hit 100? We almost hit 102. What is 102? Hey, I love for people to tell me that I'm wrong. I do. Because the moment that I'm doing what everyone else is doing, I feel like I'm going to lose. So, and that's what's so ironic about talking to people about Bitcoin, is that I've been in Bitcoin for so long, over a decade, that I wouldn't say I'm in it now since I'm net short, but I have been in the community of Bitcoin since before it was popular, and it's just me. I just like doing stuff when people tell me I'm stupid and bad and wrong. I do, and now there's too many people that. It's kind of like I'm kind of like a hipster, I guess. Like now the band that I used to like is everyone likes it, and now it's not cool anymore to me. Maybe that makes me wrong about it. I don't know. We'll see. I'll try to be we'll see about everything. But what is that? What is that level? 102. Is that a level? Is that a volume profile level at least? I mean, I would say if we're looking for a volume level that this thing could come to, I would look at that big volume profile level that was set back in the beginning of the year. And so it's going to be pretty clear that 96 is going to be the big level of potential volume profile support. Or if we look at the trend coming up here, again, two things I really rely on a lot is volume profile levels and 50%. Concise, objective, horizontal lines. I don't like diagonal lines because they always just kind of keep expanding or contracting. It doesn't really work. Nice horizontal lines. And so the levels, you got 100, and right now though, it is responding to the 104 volume profile level there. So we're going to see what happens there with that. Got some more thoughts about that. We'll dig into that a little bit in just a second. But let me finish going through the examples here. So in Ethereum, you again remember talking about false breakouts. Just kind of for those that are joining late and just kind of recap. This is the weekly of gold. All right, let me get a little highlighter here. All right, so big green dildo bar, big green. There's not even a wick on this thing. It opened, never went any lower. In fact, it probably actually just pulled back just enough on the Sunday night to confirm the past all-time high, and then closed at the end of the week strong. That is a breakout. Let's just look at this. I want you, again. This is a lot. Trading price action is a lot about pattern recognition. Okay. No, is it? Hold on. Is my sound okay? No, I think Discord is. Hold on. Sorry. You guys can hear me right on YouTube, correct? I see it coming through on. Let's see. Hang on. So, and that's what's, yeah, it's coming. I'm coming through on that. Discord for some reason is giving me an issue. Sorry, guys. Let's see if I can switch to testing. Yeah. Okay. How about this? Let's do that. Yeah, I restarted the stream and everything, and it's just Discord. That's annoying. Sorry. I don't know why it's not coming through. I can't fix it right now. All right, watch it on YouTube, guys. All right, so good. We're good to go. Continuing on. So this. Lock this in your brain. Big bullish bar, or bearish if you're looking for a bearish breakout. This is what a breakout looks like. All right, so lock that in your brain. Take a screenshot of it. Actually, if you want, we'll talk about something that happened to me this week, but flip it to a white background and maybe do a replay of it, and then like print it out, like actually put it on your wall. I used to do that a lot, actually. But then the opposite of that. Well, let's switch over to silver real quick. Silver, I got good friends that love them some silver. They have been, I gotta hand it to them. They have been long silver, believing silver for decade plus. Especially through all this malaise of the last decade. Yeah, that's one of those things, man. Sometimes when you bag hold and you stay bullish about something and you just hold on to it and you don't sell it, you get rewarded. Sometimes. I wouldn't say meme stocks did that for people and they're not going to, but it's I'm not saying this was inevitable, but I just have a lot of friends that love them some silver, okay? And I got to give them a lot of respect. They loved it. And I've made videos. I didn't make a recent video about silver short squeeze, but I did make those in past years. This silver bullishness I didn't speak out against, and I'm not saying that I knew it was going to go. I didn't feel stupid to me, and so it went. I don't know. I know everybody like silver. A lot of people love them some silver. It's almost like a little bit of a cult, I'd say. But hey, they're getting rewarded. But let's take a look at what needs to happen though. Okay. So this is the monthly. Let's clean this up because obviously resistances don't matter anymore. And let's look at there. So 49.82. Now a buddy of mine, one of my good silver buddy friends. Let's see. I can't find it right now, but he shared with me a thing analysts say. Let's see if I can find it. Hold on. Analysts. I love what analysts say. Where is it? Analysts say. Oh, here it is. Yep. Oh, it was on CNBC. Oh, of course. You know, the home for analysts. CNBC, 100 silver. Analysts say the metal could double from record highs. I'm like, oh, did you not see the lines outside the bullion dealerships? Like, don't, get out of here. Get out of here with that shit. Get out of here. Get out of here. Look, here's what you need. You need this monthly bar to close above 49.82 before we start talking about 100. Okay? So you got 2 more weeks for it to hold this new high and not do a false breakout itself. Because have we not established how dangerous false breakouts are? Even for minor pullbacks, okay? And look at it as an opportunity to possibly get some a little bit cheaper. But like, let's slow our rolls here on that a little bit. Let's not be like, you know, people do this kind of stuff. People rush in at all-time highs. Just people gonna people. So don't be like them. Don't be a person. Don't be a person. Ethereum. You don't want this. See? Big multi-year all-time high set back in 2021. Back in August. Comes up. Did we have a nice green dildo bar? No, we did not. We had a false breakout. See how important it's going to be for you to get a close on silver above this new all-time high to confirm it. Just watch for that. I'm not going to say it can't happen. Anything can happen. But just this is what you have to watch for now. If you were not holding silver for the last decade, then you are not one of the faithful. And frankly, you don't deserve to have these kind of gains. So don't be thinking that you're jumping in now that you're going to be entitled to them. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah. But I thought the topic was about the bear. Well, that's just me. I'm a contrarian, like I said. And today, I've been watching this down move right here, and like this fight. This is on the S&P 500 futures. I've been watching this fight today, and I haven't participated yet until today. I haven't actually taken a trade on S&P futures in 2 months. Been both busy and I knew it wasn't good trading until now when VIX is back up and we've got some potentially good trading going on. So yeah, I'm liking it now. So that's what I did basically. I looked and I saw that from the big down move from last Friday, the Trump tweet, to the low here, had a volume profile level at 66.91. And so came in here in the morning and took a short off of that. Actually, what I did was using, oh, no, we don't need all that. We just need the red line. We just need the red line. So it was basically what I used to call a TS turn or a Tinkerson recapture. So took a short, trying to see if this was going to be like a pullback to go short. And basically it put a target in the volume profile here. Won't let me draw in replay mode, but took a little 20 points of profit down there. And then of course, well, the bulls took control and got me out of break even. But I tried to wake the bear and didn't pay me too much. Just a little bit. But I like being able to kind of grab a little bit, like a little honey badger with some nuts, some little, maybe a little, what's that little raccoon, little raccoon meme of running around and grabbing them. Anyway, I'm a bear. I'm a bear, big bear, whatever. Not that way, but I'm cuddly like one. And yeah, so I'm trying, but market's still pretty bullish, I gotta admit. But I'm watching. I'm watching to see if the bear wakes up. Here's what I want to happen. Like, I am doing kind of the cardinal sin of trading, which is I'm trying to impose my will on the market. You can't do that, by the way. Don't do as I say, not as I do. But fortunately, I'm kind of deft enough to kind of do that, like pull a little bit out. Here's what I want. I've been talking this the last 2 weeks, basically. Here's what I want to happen. I want to see a big, and by the way, for those that haven't been like following my own things, this is not financial advice. I went to a big significant portion cash 2 weeks ago. This was not because I thought the market was going to crash or anything. It was because market's really, really high, and I kind of want to buy a house here pretty soon. But I've done neither, and so I'm still sitting on a lot of cash right now. Thinking to myself, ooh, yeah, I definitely want bearish now that I'm cash. So I do as I say, not as I do. Okay, so or no, don't hashtag not financial advice. There you go. Here's what I want to happen though. I want to see not. By the way, this is, if you notice, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen or this is what the technicals say. This is a possibility that we do a pullback to 6,400 ES, which is about 640 SPY. And why I really like that level is it's the volume profile of the summer, okay? But it also represents what we get at least 2 or 3 of every year, which is a 5 to 10% pullback. That's about a 6% pullback from the all-time high. That's a good correction to start looking for opportunities to buy stocks and things like that, okay? And so that's what I want to see. And that's when I get really interested. And, it can go either way right now, but I like the volatility. I'm going to start trading a lot more next week. All right. So that's what I'm looking for. That's why I'm wondering if the bear is entered. I'd rather talk about the bear potentially entering now than when it's already there and I'm starting to look for opportunity. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm a contrarian. I can't help but be negative at this point when everyone else is super positive. Even though the irony is that this pullback shows that the market's a little nervous, and bull markets grow on skepticism. So we're definitely not at the point of pessimism, and we're definitely not at the point of euphoria. We're in this like kind of interesting middle ground here where nobody knows what's going to happen, or at least nobody feels like they know what's going to happen. Let's catch up on chat. So silver, yeah, hey, dude, I got so many friends like you. They love their silver. They love their silver. And hey, I am remiss. I actually look, my contrarian nature does keep me from getting gains because I look at everything with skepticism. And I remember very specifically, I don't remember the date, but I remember the price. It was when gold was at 2,900. Okay, so 2,900 is about right here. Okay, so it was in this realm. It was this. Okay, well, I think this probably would have been a new all-time high at that point. Yeah. So this would have been when gold made a new all-time high of 2,900. I began reading these things on Twitter about some like financial shenanigans about shorts and calling for delivery and all these things that start kind of coming out to justify why something is really bullish. And I just kind of immediately kind of discount those as just, people just talking, crap. And then we got a little pullback there. I think I actually maybe did a little short position here just to see. Of course, got stopped out of it. But I thought about actually going out and getting some physical gold. But I did not because it is like so hard for me to buy something on the way up when everyone's telling me to do it. So did not, and so everyone that was faithful and believed in what they wanted to about this asset, that is true. What I find is kind of interesting is that when it comes to trading and investing, you can be right for the wrong reasons. I think now people are like, oh, people are buying gold based upon tensions and stuff. I don't know if it's because of international tensions. I don't know why it is. The price is just going up. I mean, more people are buying it than selling it. That's all that really matters. So yeah, congratulations. Congratulations. Market volatility is the most exciting thing. That's why I don't worry about missing stuff. I don't FOMO anything. The reason I don't FOMO anything is because I know as long as the market's moving, I can make money. There's going to be some other opportunity that's going to come along. The worst kind of market is the market that doesn't move. That sucks. That's not cool. Bull market, good. Bear market, good. Stagnant. Hey, ask the people in Bitcoin right now. Ask the longs who are hoping to retire by end of year. Ask the shorts that are wondering, is this going to be what I've been waiting for the last, 6 to 12 months? Basically, this big bullish cycle to end. Let's talk about that real quick. And by the way, get your symbols in the chat so we can take a look at them. Crypto or anything else. And I've got a couple of things to talk about too. But yeah, let's finish talking about Bitcoin and then we'll look at the topics I want to talk to today. But if you fill me up with your symbols, we'll talk about them. So as a uber contrarian, I want to take a different stance than most people. I think most people are still operating. Uh-oh. There we go. Oh, TradingView locked up a little bit. Did my camera lock up? What happened? Hold on. My camera locked up, I think. Can you guys still hear me? Give me a check on YouTube. I just got a new camera to fix my camera problem, by the way. So I think it's going. You can hear me? Okay. Well, we're gonna delete that from OBS and yeah. So boom. Okay. Let's zoom forward. Looks like my camera's been locked up for a while. Okay. All right. A lot of technical issues today. Okay. So I have been in Bitcoin. I bought my first Bitcoin in 2011 or 12. And I have seen every single bullish and bearish cycle. Okay. And so this one has been going on for, let's do months. From the low back in November to here. It's going on for 35 months. Okay. The longest any bull cycle has gone on is 36 months. Now, it could be more this time. It could be obviously not going to be very much less this time. But the one opinion that I really want to challenge is this time is different. Because look, guys, this is finance. I know that Bitcoin people think that they're changing the world of finance, but they're not changing human nature. And humans are what ultimately value. They apply a value to this, and right now they value it at $107,000. 2 weeks ago they valued it $126,000. Okay, there's every reason to believe that they could both value it at $1 million, which a lot of people think and want, and there's also a very real possibility based in history they could value it at about half of what it is now. And so, to kind of figure out where I would like to see, and I would get interested in bullish on Bitcoin again, is if I look at the whole trend that got us here, there's a couple of key levels. So obviously the 50% level is 70, and that would represent a pullback of about 40%. Now the history of Bitcoin bear cycles are that they range from about 75% drawdown to about 95% drawdown. I don't think it's going to be that bad because it's less volatile now. And there's also a lot more, simply volatility is what the main thing that matters. But there's a lot of narratives about who's buying that kind of stuff. But let's just say that it does a 65% pullback. That's actually being conservative. That brings it back down to guess where? Guess what happened here in this little bar right here in January of 2024. That is where the ETF opened. And so both in terms of projected volatility, if you just take the past bear cycle drawdowns and you calculate what the most likely drawdown is based on the current realized volatility. It was 95% drawdown, 80 something percent drawdown, 75% drawdown. I had ChatGPT do it for me with some data, but 65% drawdown was basically what we could figure from the volatility over the last few years. That's what's potential. Now, it could also go up 65%. I mean, you got to understand volatility goes either way. It's imagine like a big V, okay? So, and then let's also take a look at something else I have on this. So where is my... There we go. So we all have kind of seen, and I've tried to do this with, lines, but this is a logarithmic chart of Bitcoin. All right. So if there's one thing that we can all kind of observe by just looking at, I've got here, the vertical lines are the halvening cycles, by the way. The highs are going higher, but at a lower rate, and the lows are going higher, but at a lower rate. And it's all sort of interestingly kind of converging. Okay. Let me actually find something that I saw. I think I liked it on, yeah. Hold on a second. Oh, I found this was kind of funny. Again, goes back to the leptocurtic nature of the market right now, where it's higher highs and lows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows which way it's going to go. Let's see. Oh, here's another funny thing that I saved. It's more like, according to Polymarket, it's more likely that aliens are confirmed this year than Bitcoin hitting 200K. Well, that's... We don't have that many months left. Oh, where is that thing that I was looking at? These are things I saved for the live stream. Let's see. I thought No. Okay. Well. Oh, where is it? It was something about hold on. Bitcoin CAGR. Compounded annual growth. I guess I don't have it. Well, without having the data in the chart, the simple answer is the returns on Bitcoin year over year, while still amazing, are decreasing. Now, I will be challenged on that and say, well, this time it's going to be different. Governments are going to buy it. Well, you don't know that. But what we can say is that it's sort of adopting it is an exponential, but it is going in a sort of a convergence, basically, over time. Now, there still could be some upside in this logarithmic chart, but I think if you look at this right here, it's like, okay, well, it's going to do this. I don't think so. But I don't think that you're going to have, a low of the last cycle, okay, either. And so I wish I could do a line in Thinkorswim here that would do a really good fit of this. Where's this? Where's a little... Oh, hang on. Curve. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see if it'll let us do a curve. Nope. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Nope. Hey, there we go. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And we're just guessing. We're just spitballing here. Okay. And so, yeah, if we were let's do another one. That's pretty cool. Actually, I like that. Woo. Okay. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Okay, if we just do that. Can we get one more data point up here? Yeah, let's be a little more bullish than that. Just astrology for men. We're not taking it seriously. There we go. Okay. I kind of like that though. That looks good. All right, so this could be what we could potentially see, and it all matters on time. So March of 2026, yeah, we could have done 200. Can still happen, still be within the realm of possibility. But then at some point, let's say we have a bear cycle, we're going to come down to the lower end of this bound. And my personal thesis, my personal contrarian nature is going to be to want to pick this thing up when it does that. So if it comes down to here at 60 in a short amount of time, great. If it comes down to 83 at a great amount of time, and I even told someone this week I was having dinner with a very, very bullish Bitcoin friend. He has a electrical price ticker of Bitcoin in every room of the house. I said, dude, that's not healthy. But anyway, even if it comes up to, what is it? Is that the 1 million or 275,000, whatever? Then you know what? I'll scoop it back up at the price we are now. And then I'll be happy to do that. Because it will. Everything does. Cycles. So. Do fib time, by the way, halvenings, sure, of course, different this time. Oh, it's always different, man. It's always different. I see the problem. You didn't draw the whole shape. Forget that. For log linear, you need different tools. Best you can draw lines. Those will mean exponential. It's all just. I don't trade off of logarithmic because it's impossible. I trade off of horizontal lines. But if I'm looking at a long-term position on Bitcoin right now, it is to take the opposite side of what quote unquote everyone else is doing, which is to bet on it going all the way down. And my long-term target would be about the 40s, because that would be the most ironic thing for the ETF buyers to be tested. It would. Most ironic thing being the most likely. So I don't know if that's true or not, but Elon said it, so it might be. All right, let's see what else to look at. That's you see. Let's take a look, guys. Get your symbols in the chat for us to look at. What about the S&P 500? Well, I talked about that a little bit earlier. I want to see. Let's do SPY. Just kind of recap on that since you asked. I want to see at least a pullback to SPY 640, which again, reasons for that is because this is kind of almanac data point. In any given year, statistically, you get 2 to 3, minus 5 to 10% pullbacks on the S&P 500, and that would put us back in that territory. So I want to see this mature into a little bit of a bearish correction on stocks for opportunity generation. That's great. But given that, also, I got to go through my portfolio here. I actually cut WHR. This was one that I've been talking about for a while. Let's talk about this pattern really quick right here while you guys think about what you want. You bought puts. Let me share something with you that I read this week. Now this is I saw a video about it. Oh, Discord's locked up completely. What is going on with Discord? Okay, Discord is just failing, so I can't bring that up. Actually, I can. Let me hold on a second. Let's kill it and then reopen it, because that's where I stored my. There's an investor named Howard Marks. Okay. And he focuses on credit, like corporate credit, like corporate bonds and things like that. But he still has opinions about the market. Let's see. Let me join that and see. All right. Back on devices, OBS virtual camera. So, all right. So he talked about, let me share this in the chat with you guys. This is the YouTube video. Go listen to this. It's good stuff. Good stuff. At the end, he talks about a thing called InvestCon, kind of like DEF CON. Like, how the U.S. government, U.S. military has, different DEF CON levels, basically, where, 5 is a state of just like, okay, things are normal, we're kind of ready. 4 is, ooh, there's a little bit of tension. 3 is like, okay, war is probably about to happen. 2 is it's really about to, I don't actually know what the DEF CONs are. But 1 is the nukes are in the air, essentially. You're fully at war. And so this was what he proposed in terms of InvestCon. let's put this overlay this over S&P 500 because that's what we're talking about. And weekly, okay. So he actually added one. InvestCon 6 is you stop buying. Okay, pretty simple. 5 is reduce aggressive holding and increase defensive holdings. 4, InvestCon 4, sell off remaining aggressive holdings, and those are going to be your very volatile, your tech stuff, your crypto, your speculative stuff. 3, trim your defensive holdings, trim all your Coca-Colas and things like that. 2, eliminate all holdings, go to straight up complete cash. And 1, go short. And he mentioned, yes, we'll look at oil in just a second. And he definitely mentioned that 3 through 1 are impossible to nail down. But it doesn't really hurt you to go to 5 when you start to kind of notice that there's a little bit of frothiness going on. And so I've definitely done 5 myself at this point. It's a very neutral thing to do. I mean, I cut a lot of tech stuff 2 weeks ago, which I would consider the aggressive stuff. They're also the highest flying. They were an inordinate amount of my portfolio, so definitely close those. But did I start buying puts? No. The shorts that I like to do, like I did today, is I like to trade futures and trade it on the short side, just to see if I can capture something. Okay, but puts are a way to do it if you want. We'll see. But it's very difficult, I've found, to make money buying puts on the market. You just have probability against you, which means that the payout will be great when and if it does work. But good luck to you, because literally you need it. Statistically speaking, stocks go up. But yeah, I'm just at DEFCON 5, or excuse me, InvestCon 5 right now. I've reduced my aggressive holdings. Still have my Tesla, still have a lot of Google, still have a lot of Nvidia, still have all that good stuff, but haven't eliminated them completely. But yeah. So, all right, let's see. Oil. Let's look at oil real quick, since it's requested. Haven't looked at it in a little bit. So oil is definitely breaking this 50% level. It's kind of wonky to draw because of what happened in 2020 on futures. But I try to draw it from 0. And so from 0 to the high that it made in March of 2022, it does seem to be giving up that 50% level. And this just kind of makes me look at it and think, oh, this thing's going lower. Okay, it's definitely starting to trend that way. Lower lows, lower highs. Yeah. I don't have a reason here to be bullish, because where there was support, it is now breaking below it and even coming back up to confirm it as resistance. Now, what does that mean? Well, oil is sort of forward-looking when it comes to what the economy is going to use, and it's definitely going to be impacted by economic slowdown. But we're not in a period of like, we're not in bear market territory like you would have in 2020, or in the case of 2008. Man, 2008 was crazy, man. I remember lines at the gas station when it went up. Just lines to buy anything, by the way, guys. That's a sure sign of a bubble, okay? So, dude, anytime people line up to buy something at all-time highs, you got to stay away, man. Even though we're all people, don't be a people. Don't be a people. This is to kind of go back to what I was saying about gold and people lining up at gold bullion places now. People lined up before the high, but they were still lining up in this general period of time. Okay, that's the point I'm trying to make. I don't see anything really conclusive here, but it's definitely not bullish. I would say it's on the bear side, oil. Yeah. Not recapturing levels to become bullish again, that's for sure. All right. So a couple of notes. Let's do a little teachable thing on Whirlpool, because Whirlpool was a buy. It was actually by a viewer that brought it up to me years ago. Actually, I had an alert set from back in 2023 at 75.53 for the major volume profile level at 75.53, which it also was kind of the COVID low, and it came down, and I bought here. Now, let me talk about how I managed this trade. All right, so I wanted to make this a dividend play because at the time at 75.53, this was yielding about 8% dividend. That's pretty good, maybe like 8.5, I think. And so that's great. And I also want to kind of build a position in stocks. Like stocks go up, and the best things that have made me a lot of money are things that I've just held forever. There's a lot of sleepers out there that have just been great for me. Costco is more recent, but Rollins, ROL, Waste Management. I've had that for a long time. It's like these are not things that people meme about on Twitter, but I mean companies. Well, actually, Waste Management is doing a nice little pullback. I need to actually. I might get some more. Eli Lilly, which again had a pullback, bought some at 640, but this is just printed money over the last decade essentially. Rollins, this is a pest control company. Who the hell cares about pest control companies? Well, people that own houses do. I mean, these are just things that kind of speak to how, as I've done this for over a decade and seen what works and what doesn't, getting stocks and then just holding on to shares of them is like really awesome, like in the long run. And so I would love to have picked this up off this volume profile level, off a low, and then seen it really, come back and recover. The other one that's kind of like that, just to kind of juxtapose it, which is still doing pretty good. Well, yeah, it's still doing pretty good off that low from earlier this year, is Dollar General. Okay. The other one is Hershey's. There's several of them, all the same kind of thing. Hershey's, and then Mondelez. Although Mondelez has come back a little bit, hasn't really scared me there from the 55.10. But what these all have in common is they're multi-year, going back almost a decade, volume profile levels. Now, why does this work? I don't know. That just does. Okay, it's where people bought it a decade ago. I guess they want to buy it again there. It's just working. Okay, and yeah, but it also gives a good level for me to say, no, the stock isn't dead. I'll buy it. Now, that being said, what a lot of these have done is they have come back. They have gone from one volume profile level, and this is the key. This is the key thing I want to kind of teach here. They've started from this volume profile level, which I'm going to look at for every stock, especially when we go through a pullback and I see opportunities. I want to buy these things that people think are dead. All right, that stock's dead. It's worthless. And then it's come back up and it's held the volume profile resistance from the down move. Okay, now if I'm a trader, I want to buy low, sell higher, okay? But I wanted to be an investor, and so I held on to this position, okay, in spite of it hitting this resistance. And people would ask me, the people that took this, they were like, hey, do we sell here? I was like, you know what? You can if you want to. I'm going to see what happens. Well, I did. And it came back, and then this week, I said, all right, I'm going to make a decision this week. Notice how on Wednesday of this week, it came up and held that entry level. I got an opportunity to get back at break even, and it actually closed to hold that thing as resistance. That's all I need to go ahead and cut it. The other thing that's going on is you have earnings on Monday, and I don't want to go into a position. I don't want to go into earnings with a position at a loss, because you don't know what's going to happen on earnings. Yes, it could make it come back, but you know what? It could also make it go down worse. So this week I went ahead and cut Whirlpool, actually. So that's one change to this. And you know what? We'll come back and look at it later, but that drops off. And that's fine, because we have everything else that's going on. Speaking of which, let's go through real quick. Get your symbols in. And I had a personal rule to never buy puts, and I broke it this time. Oh, my God, Dawson. Well, why have rules if you're going to break them? You know what? That's one of those kind of little enigmatic things that they say about traders, is like you have to have rules and you have to know when to break them. What I like to do instead of trying to go in the broad market is I may want to look and find a weak stock and buy puts on that weak stock. Does that make sense? Like if I think the market's a little weak, and I haven't actually done that this week. I've been a little lazy this week to look at it, but that's what I should be doing actually, is I should be looking for weak stocks and then bringing them to you and say, hey, here's what I did. I think this next week, if I get some, next week I'm going to be kind of busy. I'll try. I'll try to find some weaknesses and do that. But anyway, let's go through the list here. So Palantir still have some of this from, I did a trim on Palantir 2 weeks ago. Again, part of the tech stuff. It's hugely up. Kroger so far, I think I looked at that, yep, on the weekly. It's doing what I drew out, which is it is riding that Ichimoku cloud back up. Good. That's actually going to be a really good pullback right there, because I remember from my old Ichimoku days that when you only touch the top of the cloud, that gives you a higher probability of coming up and retesting and breaking that high. If you had a deeper pullback, then it would have been a little bit lower probability of breaking the high. But that's a nice, healthy pullback to the cloud there on the weekly. Okay. Dollar General, again, we're long from 71, so that's fine. Trying to get that thing all the way back up to the 200s. We'll see. Mondelez Candy Company, take out the Ichimoku. It's just kind of hanging out. We'll see what happens. Hershey's, again, this was what I was talking about with hitting a volume profile level, then immediately hitting the volume profile level for the leg down. I'm seeing this a lot this year, and that's just because I've been started trading in this method. That's why I'm seeing these things play out. But this is the opposite side of the WHR trade. So this is a different trade, same setup, same volume profile buy that played itself out differently. In other words, it also came up to the volume profile from the leg down and held it. As a trader, you could have taken some profit. That would have been great. But then notice when it came back down to retest the entry, didn't quite get there, as opposed to, I already took it off, but WHR, when it came back down, it breached the entry. Not good. But Hershey's didn't even touch it. Good. And now it's back up at this same level. So we're going to hold on to that. See? Very different. Very different. Very different. Same setup, differences. All right. Tesla, I'm just going to hold on to it. I was selling calls against Tesla, and I got tired of managing it because it would just blow past my strike, and then I'd have to roll it. And I want to keep the shares. So, we're just going to leave it on. My least favorite trade is SRPT because this thing's so volatile, but I just need to take off my list because every day it's like up or down, a lot of percentage points. But I'm long from I think 14. No, I'm long from that was the volume profile level. I'm long from 16, and so we'll see what happens there. I like the potential gains on this one, but I don't like the volatility. But volatility is a double-edged sword. It giveth and it taketh away. Intel. Just going to kind of hold on to this just like I did for the last 2 years. Agilent, again, long from 112. That was a 50% level and also a 30-minute spike from the summer. Pretty much the only summer trade that I took. Copart. Copart is, again, it might get the axe. It's doing things I don't like. Got long back in August. Looked good. Now it's starting to do the same thing as WHR. I might rather have the cash out of that position rather than hold on to that stock. Humana, still looking for an opportunity here. I still want to get long healthcare, but it is in the valley of risk. And so I haven't taken a long position yet. Eli Lilly, this thing just prints money. 640 long from August. Again, yay. UNH, yay. We're going to hold on to that. And yeah. Oh, MicroStrategy. By the way, my series of puts, my position on MicroStrategy that I've held since basically, and I've been managing. Basically, I have long-term puts on MicroStrategy out to 2026 and even 2027. And I've been holding on to them and selling shorter dated, closer strike puts and calls against them to offset the theta. So I basically try to keep a neutral theta position. In other words, the time decay of options is not hurting me so much while maintaining about 200 negative delta. So it's not a huge position, but it's one that I think for me could end up being a 6-figure payout if they do finally collapse, which I think they will. It finally, after starting to put it on back in, I think, what was it? at the beginning or the end and the beginning of this year finally turned positive. Now, that doesn't mean that, Michael Saylor could be correct and Bitcoin can make new highs, then I can be, in the negative again. But this week, my MicroStrategy short position turned positive. After all, now it was positive back in April, of course. March and April. This was, of course, positive. So the last time it was positive here. And then, of course, I had to sit here and grit my teeth and, sell against it and then worry if the calls were going to exercise, as my Bitcoin friends told me it surely was. But yeah, no. So that's that. And currency positions, I closed out the dollar CAD position 2 weeks ago. Glad that I did, and I'm still holding on to my dollar Chinese yuan position. In other words, that's short dollar, long yuan. So that's holding, and I think that's good. Dollar again, you guys. False breakouts don't only work on the bullish breakouts; they also work on the bearish side. And despite what you may be reading on Twitter or CNBC or whatever, FUD posting that you see, the dollar is actually rebounding, getting stronger. So, all right. Anything to look at before I sign off for the weekend? Hey, what's up, Zygor? I haven't seen you in a while. I had to restart Discord because it was, Cat. One of your big things. See, Cat's like one of your... Oh, my God. Look at that. Nice. Dude, this... Oh, and I guess, we probably talked about this back in... Holy shit, look at March. Look at that 50% pullback. Oh, good God. And see, by the way, again, this goes back to what I was saying. Guys, this is what you want to see on a breakout. Now, it hesitated, but it didn't fail that breakout. You had that big, bullish green dildo bar that punched above it and got you into a breakout. That's what you want to see on a breakout. Nice. Yeah. Hey, only pick winners. Second to that, hold on to your winners. That's there you go. Hashtag not financial advice. Nvidia. I don't even have Nvidia on my watch list because I bought the shares back in 2021 and I just figure I'm not going to look at them because everyone is, I think I bought it actually in early 2021. And so I kind of weathered the drawdown, just not looking at it. And so, yeah. So the reason I don't look at it, Nvidia, is because of this. When I start reading on Twitter, oh my God, AI is dead, then I'll probably look back at Nvidia and be like, oh, okay, cool. We're doing that thing that every tech stock does, which means that it pulls back anywhere from 50 to 60 to 70%. Now I'm a buyer of Nvidia again. Yeah. Just a few years ago, you had that. And so didn't quite get a good pullback here back in the beginning of the year. Only about a 43% pullback. Only 43%. LOL. But we'll see if we can't get a nice little pullback. And then I might add some more to Nvidia. How long you been shorting Bitcoin? Long time, buddy. I mean, yeah, it's an apt question. No, not a few years. Not a few years. And I haven't been in this I like to sit around in Bitcoin chats and have them tell me that I'm an idiot. I really, really enjoy that actually. Because I need to have my finger on the pulse of the community basically. And I've shorted it on occasions. The last short that I had before this one was back in February. And that was when it did a bearish breakout. And of course it came down and I had to close it with not as much profit as I would have liked when it flipped to the other side. And so I'm going to keep doing that until the bear cycle starts. And no one's going to be able to convince me that this time it's different. That's all. Eventually you're going to get a bear cycle in Bitcoin. You've had 5 before. And it doesn't matter what people are doing in the market. The market's still made up of people. And for some reason, people get kind of tired and bored of Bitcoin. And it's not that they sell their Bitcoin. It's just that the price stops going up, I guess. I don't know. I have no explanation for it. But I just know that we've had multiple cycles, and I'm going to play that cycle, man. Well, the thing about it is, as long as people still see it as an opportunity, it's not a bear cycle. And I've actually thought about that. I'm like, well, what kind of mindset would create a bear cycle? Because you have to understand that, just like, you know, I'm the market, you're the market, everyone's the market. There has to be some prevailing narrative that has even the most faithful giving up on it, or not giving up on it, but just being hesitant to buy it. That's what creates bear cycles. You get me there? You understand what I'm saying? Hey, have a good evening, Montaz. That's true, and something that I've been telling people. That's Cyborns at Discord, by the way. That's what I've been telling people. In the Bitcoin chats, is like, look, guys, like at this point, from where I'm sitting as a non Kool Aid drinker, I see a lot. Let's model this. Actually, I see a very very high degree of correlation between the stocks, and I can actually put a number on it. Correlation coefficient. If something is perfectly correlated, it is 1. If it is inversely correlated, it is -1. Just giving you an idea what the numbers mean. And so if we go and we look at a monthly, back in the olden days of 2012 and 2015, it was inversely correlated, and then back in 2019 there was no correlation with it. But as time has gone along and more of these derivative products, these ETFs and everything have come into play, Bitcoin and the stock market have become quite correlated. And as of this month, the correlation coefficient is 0.84. It was 0.93 earlier this year. There's a little bit of difference in correlation, and that difference has actually been that the stock market has continued going up, whereas Bitcoin's kind of stalled. So there are big swings, and I think that's one of the things that I've kind of said, that again, it's being contrarian, it's being a little bit avant-garde. Is I don't see. I mean, I trust me, I do see the difference between equities and Bitcoin. I'm nerdy enough to know all the technical details, but from a trader, from an investor, from a pure asset perspective, when they're this highly correlated, the only difference I see is volatility. In that, as you said, if stocks go down, Bitcoin's going to go down more, and both are being fueled by the same fundamental factors. That's money printing. Everyone agrees with that, and that money is finding its way into assets. Bitcoin is an asset. Stocks are an asset, and also risk appetite, in that people are wanting to take risk in speculative ventures. And so both of these things, depending on what perhaps generation and risk tolerance you are, is the one you pick. But it's all the same kind of fundamental factors. Yeah. I've never been into Ethereum. I thought about doing Solana instead, but instead I chose to do neither. So I missed the Ethereum run, and from my perspective, as I talked about at the beginning of the live stream, man, like, it's done a false breakout here back in August, and that's not good. Ethereum's actually not in a good place. But what I find interesting is that Solana is actually it actually fell much harder. It's kind of it's not doing too well either. By the way, yes, I am a big Monero. I don't know what you call yourself. There's not really a community for. Well, there is a community. It's just that everyone's anonymous and nobody wants to share their actual real name. So that's what kind of stands in the way of network effect, I think, in a little bit. But just as a kind of real quick, so, and I get accused of arbitrarily selecting a time period, but I mean, everyone wants to look back at the last 15 years of Bitcoin to justify their investment. But let's just do it for the sake of argument. Year to date, because it's been almost a full year. We're in quarter four. So January 1st on Bitcoin to here, 15%. Bitcoin is a 15% up over the year. Yay. Kind of like stocks. Ethereum, let's do Ethereum. We'll do Doge in a minute. Ethereum, let's see. You're up on Ethereum by about 15% as well. Okay. Taking out all the volatility. Dogecoin. Fun stuff, Dogecoin. Yay, Dogecoin. You're down about 42%. Yikes. Litecoin. Down about 11%. Solana. What other things am I looking at? What are some other things I should consider in this? What are blue chip? What are non-meme? What are established blue chip, highly capitalized cryptos? Let's see, that's January 1st. All right, you're down just about 2% on Solana. So, Monero. Monero from January the 1st, or January 1st, 2025 to here, despite all the FUD and volatility, up 46%. So Bitcoin up 15%, Ethereum up 15%, Doge down 40%, Litecoin down 12%, Solana down 2%, Monero up 46%. And why do I suppose that is? I think it has just such a small market cap. It's poised for a lot more potential upside, and it's just being used. It actually has a use case. I mean, Bitcoin's got its use case as digital gold. I actually went to a Bitcoin tech conference this week, as a matter of fact. Oh yeah, and Zcash is another privacy coin, but I don't know what's going on there. It's doing some crypto stuff. But I went to a Bitcoin tech conference, and there's a lot of. I went to this talk, this kind of debate panel, where this guy came in there, and I love the guy for doing it, and challenging them about Lightning Network, about how it's basically the best of all the bad options of layer 2. And granted, he's coming to speak at a conference where most of the people working there are working on Lightning, like they're building businesses on Lightning. And what's interesting about that talk is that they all would get up on stage to challenge him and say well, first of all, I agree with you about your criticisms about scaling and how it's not really achieving network effect yet, and it's got security problems, and it's creating not really a hub and spoke system, but just a hub system. It's going to lend itself towards centralization. So all these problems, and yet they have dedicated their life and career to working in this, and they got me to thinking. I went back to cleaning out my mom's house. I'm going to finish with this kind of point because I think we're going symbols. I'm going to finish this point. I'm cleaning up my mom's house, and I found a bunch of my old charts that I had drawn with Ichimoku. We're talking hundreds of charts I printed out about Ichimoku. Okay, trying to understand. I believed that certain patterns with Ichimoku meant something for many, many years. And it took me many years to kind of unlearn that and realize that a lot of price action is random, okay? And you're never going to actually come up with some concrete rules about it. You've got to be reactionary to it, and then you also have to manage your risk, and you have to understand anything can happen. But for the longest time, I believed and even taught, if you do this, this will happen. That's why I try to take a more we'll see approach. But if I look back at those pictures and I think about where I was in that point, I had conviction that what I was doing, what I was dedicating my time to, was correct, and I would be able to challenge criticism, and I would be able to continue debate with people about it. But at the end of the day, it's fascinating to me how when you have a lot invested in something, when you have a lot invested not only monetarily but also belief and your identity into it, there's nothing you can do to shake you from believing that you're doing the correct thing. And this applies to politics too. But yeah, It was interesting to see in this very deep dive into the Bitcoin culture, like the deepest of the tech, the nerdiest of the tech. I actually think they should have passed out deodorant at that place, because I'm cursed with a good sense of smell, and they were a bunch of sweaty nerds. But that's how smart they were. They didn't care about hygiene. But they are not willing to challenge the direction that they're going, despite some people in their community telling them that this solution to scaling for Bitcoin on Lightning Network is kind of a lost cause, and they just can't give it up. And that's because they've invested a lot into it. So being invested in something is it sometimes works against you, but I'll leave it at that. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys, this Friday. I hope you have a good weekend. I will definitely be back next week, because the market is getting very, very interesting. And I want to see if I can catch a short. So, trade wisely, guys. See you later.